Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of hell. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Hey, live from New Jersey and Hollywood. It's Alternative Health Talk with Denise Otten and doctors and scientists and holistic practitioners. And everyone knows that our final Autoimmune Symposium is this Sunday on March 10th, 2019 at Knoll Country Club in Parsippany, New Jersey, the beautiful rolling hills of Parsippany, New Jersey. The reason I started this Autoimmune Symposium was that I healed my daughter of a deadly disease. It was autoimmune hepatitis, and within 4 months on a vitamin diet with no wheat, no dairy diet, my daughter healed. She just reversed her autoimmune hepatitis. But this was after 5 years on the medicine that the doctors put her on from the best hospitals in New York City. So don't believe the doctors. You've got to do your own research. So after I wrote I then was so thrilled that I had to write a book about it. And then came Curing Courtney, the book. And many people came to me from all over the world for help. So I realized and of course I helped them get better. And I realized maybe what we need to do is get the doctors to come to New Jersey or at the tri-state area so we could meet them. And then people could meet the doctors and they could give them the science and the encouragement to know that there are alternative ways. So this is just one way of healing the body. There's so many different ways with nutrition. But one special day back in 2013, after I wrote my book, a beautiful, very toned, buff man called me. He contacted me on Facebook, and I thought, oh, what's this good-looking man doing? He contacted me to say, I'm so happy to have found your book. I've just reversed my autoimmune hepatitis and diabetes, and he lost 107 pounds. This guy was I had to meet him. So, of course, let's put up the pictures of Iron Eagle Mike. He calls himself that because, well, look at him. He's looking pretty much like an iron, and his name is Mike, and he's done a great job at getting himself well. And tonight, he's here to tell us how he healed his broken body, which is the name of his series of books, because now he wrote his books. But he wrote 4 books. His first book is called Healing a Broken Body, and the second one is called Into the Shadows. You've got to get these books. They're very motivational. And this is a man, not a woman. So it's a different perspective from where, for you can maybe you could relate to him better. Maybe you can relate to him because he's on the West Coast. Maybe you can relate to him because he's not a mother. Either way, the man inspires me to no end. He is my personal hero, and I just can't say enough about him. He's my favorite holistic health coach on the West Coast. Let's welcome Iron Eagle Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It's so great to see you. Now, he has sweats on. Normally, on Instagram, you can see him pumping iron. Looks great. Iron Man. He's great. He's just great. So tell me, Mike, how did you heal yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Denise, for having me. It's such a great honor to be on your show. And this healing process, well, it's what a journey it's been. It actually started back in end of 2010. At that time, I was like almost 300 pounds, type 2 diabetic, and autoimmune hepatitis had not yet shown its face to me yet.
Right.
But my one of my good friends, like, he saw me just before New Year's.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him in 30 years. He was a doctor.
Wow. Oh.
Then, yeah.
MD?
Yes, an MD. He's a neurologist in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
He saw me and he was very concerned. He said, he hadn't seen me in like 30 years, so he was just like blown away how blown up you were. How blown up I was.
Yeah.
So he said, all he said to me is like, I'm not here to just tell you, normally I don't, but you're my friend and you're a walking time bomb.
Ooh.
And then that really clicked onto me because I was in denial.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed as diabetic back in 2005. And I was just in denial of that. And I was very fit and very in shape before that, but I just fell off the wagon, when I left the health industry, and I had to make some changes to my health drastically. So 2011, New Year's, I just, when he told me that, I said, you know what, you're right. So I'm going to do something about it.
Okay. Was it a New Year's resolution? One of those New Year's resolutions?
It was a New Year's decision that would save my life. So New Year's 2011, I said, hey, I'm going to do it like without even thinking. I said, I will do it. I don't know how exactly I'm going to do it, but I know from my background that I can. I just have to begin somewhere.
What was your background?
Well, I was with GNC before, in the industry. So I was I helped set up all the stores in Canada in the West Coast. So that was my background. So nutrition, supplements, manufacturing. And then I also, studied. They put me through, their own schooling through the University of Florida. Nutrition. So I had this background. So I think that gave me a big difference between people who don't know where to begin. Right. So I just decided I would be my own patient. I didn't hire a trainer. I just did it all for myself. And
wow.
How did you
find the protocol? Because you and I know that we need alpha lipoic, but there's more because you got really sick. So just tell me, what else did you have? Because you had diabetes. Okay, got it. Did you go on the meds? Did you go on meds?
Yeah. I was on all the meds. So diabetes, but not for autoimmune. It was all diabetes meds. So 2 medications for blood sugar, 2 medications for high blood pressure. 2 medications for high cholesterol. And 2 medications for triglycerides. So
8?
So yeah, it's about 8 medications, and I was just so in a fog.
And you were 50 years old.
Not yet. At that time, I'm 52 now. At that time, I was 44. I was just turning 44.
So young.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
And when I made the decision to change, because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired already.
Exactly. That's what I said.
And at that time too, I was already also on disability because I tore my right elbow at a work-related accident.
Right.
So I couldn't use my right elbow. So I went into the gym. I signed up for a gym membership on day one at Planet Fitness. And all I could do only really was cardio at that time.
Okay,
but
I better than nothing, right?
Yep. And, the first couple of weeks, I could only do 10 minutes at a time on a treadmill, and I was just so tired. But I changed my diet. I created a diet plan for myself that I would eliminate all the white food, rice.
Now, how did you find all this out?
Pasta,
how did you just read and all of a sudden something appeared? Who did you learn from?
No, because at GNC we had these different programs already that we would teach people about, about different types of muscle building diets, Atkins diet. We're not advisors there, but we had training for that up in Canada.
Good. At least you got the Atkins,
right? So there was Atkins, there was Body for Life that that was created by Bill Phillips of EAS back then. So I used that as a template. So Body for Life was actually a program that he created back in 1997. So I used that as a template and then adjusted. So I just eliminated all the starchy stuff. And then I incorporated a lot more vegetables.
Good. So
within the first 8 months of doing that, I lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
And I got off all medications. So 2011, I lost that's the first 60 pounds. And then
your blood pressure went down?
Oh, yes. So they took me off all medications in August of 2011.
Yeah.
And then I had the surgery during that year. So I had to wait until I finished my physiotherapy so that I could
kind of surgery?
use my
elbow. Just elbow.
Yeah, they had to reattach something that was, that was torn from my wrist all the way to my elbow.
Okay, so it was It wasn't having anything to do with like lap band surgery or
No,
anything
no,
like that.
no,
No.
no.
So you did it all by yourself. Okay,
Yeah.
so now, before you go on, you got to give us a little indication of how sick you really got, because where did you get the autoimmune hepatitis? Like, when did that happen?
That manifested actually in 2013. So after I lost 107 pounds. I was in great shape. I was working out hard, and my goal was at that time was going to enter a contest,
What kind?
like a physique contest. It was my dream since I was
Bodybuilder? Yeah, yeah.
since
Okay.
I was a kid. I said, yeah, so let me do that. But it started to manifest itself in April of 2013.
Okay.
And I got really sick. I got jaundice, and I
Right.
couldn't figure out what was going on.
Right. Because here you
And
were so healthy. So what
yeah,
what made it happen? Like, did you get a bunch of vaccines and you didn't realize that the vaccines caused that? Or was it extreme depression? What
uh,
was it?
it was a cascade of everything. Like the doctors couldn't find out because I was in the hospital for about a week. I was seriously ill. I was actually almost like dying at one point. That they called somebody called a priest on me. I woke up one morning in the hospital and
Wow.
there was a priest, like praying prayers. I'm like, what is that? Am I dying?
Wow.
But
How high were your AST and ALTs?
3,600.
Oh, they were up there. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I was really weak.
You were really yellow.
Yeah,
You were dying. You were
yeah,
dying.
yeah. My heart rate was going down below 40, and then I was just asking the nurse, "Is this normal?" She says, "Oh, it's just that your body's trying to protect itself." So
Why
it's
didn't they put you on IV of prednisone to save you?
they
And to
didn't
just
know
get
they just saw it was chronic inflammation of the liver.
Okay.
And so initially they couldn't figure it out because they thought it was hemochromatosis because they thought the one doctor asked me like, "Do you have European blood?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Uh, I
Okay,
said,
so let's go straight to
yeah.
the heart of the matter, because people ask me, how did this happen? I'm just an average everyday American, and so on and so
It
forth.
got triggered by stress and also by the release, like because when you're overweight and you have a lot of fat,
Mm-hmm.
the fat cells hold all the toxins.
There you go.
When you lose the weight, then it just has to go somewhere.
So
And it
you
has to
did
be,
have a certain amount of toxicity in you with the vaccines that you took throughout your lifetime.
yes,
And did you get travel vaccines also?
yes. Oh, yeah.
Ah,
It was mandatory because I had, I migrated from Philippines to Canada and Canada to the U.S. So you can imagine how many shots I had to take.
that's what I want to get at. I want to get at that this autoimmune hepatitis is not just, and it's not just autoimmune hepatitis. When people come to our Autoimmune Symposium, they're going to meet Dr. Bert Berkson. And Dr. Bert Berkson last year told us publicly, yeah, lupus used to be called, autoimmune hepatitis used to be called lupus back in the day, and he didn't tell me whether it was the 70s or 80s, but then when it started to attack the liver, they decided to give it a new name, and they called it autoimmune hepatitis. So in essence, it's lupus, and it's the lupus virus, and it's just that your body is toxic. It's not sick, it's
Yes.
toxic.
It's very toxic, highly inflamed everywhere.
Right.
Yes.
So after you started to lose the weight, then all these vaccines started to purge. They all started to go through the liver, and the liver couldn't process it, and then it gets sick, and it says, "Stop, hold it. I can't function with this much toxicity.
Yes.
Help." Okay, but then other things happened to you because you got so sick. Your liver enzymes were, by the way, liver enzymes are supposed to be in the 20s and 30s. His were at 3,600. I just want to be very clear.
Yes.
That's how sick he was. What else happened to your body because you were so sick?
My kidneys took on the brunt of because my liver was failing. So they almost put me on the liver transplant list in Canada.
Yeah.
And then my kidneys started leaking protein,
Protein.
basically high creatinine, and that was an indication that my kidneys were also becoming compromised. So also, I had to make a lot of adjustments dietary as well because, I couldn't eat a lot of foods that had potassium. So I had to go not just on a autoimmune protocol diet, but I also had to go on a kidney diet.
Got it.
Meaning like it's pretty much, I had to turn to basically raw vegan juicing for the first 3 months to
Good.
start healing my gut.
And this is really important. So now we're going to get into see, Mike is my counterpart on the West Coast. So because he went through what he went through, he is now a health coach. So if you need holistic health counseling on the West Coast, this is the guy I'm going to send you to. If you need it on the East Coast, he's going to send you to me.
Yes.
The truth is that we have experiences that are a little bit different. So we complement each other. He had such a breakdown of his organs that he had to go on the raw food diet first.
Yes.
So not that he's going to sustain that for the rest of his life. That's just to get him healthy. Then once he starts to chelate all the heavy metals out of his body, then he went more into protein, animal meat, correct?
Yes, and it had to be organic, grass-fed. I was very mindful to not eat a lot of red meat because even if it's organic and grass-fed, it's very hard on the kidneys. So a lot of my animal protein would come from wild-caught fish, from chicken that's always organic, turkey. And I stopped eating pork back in 2011. It just it didn't agree with me anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So that, and of course, eggs had to be free range, and people say, well, that's expensive. I said, well, it's either you want to live or you die, right? So,
and all the drugs that they're going to give you, if you stay sick, it's going to be expensive. So you'll have cheap food, expensive drugs, and you'll die early because you were like in your 40s. So you actually saved yourself.
Yeah, and I got hospitalized a second time, primarily because it was not from the diet. I was following already a very holistic diet,
right?
But I was still working out very hard.
Ah, okay. So talk about that. When you work out too hard and your body is sick, talk about that.
Yeah, then actually the liver it elevates the liver enzymes.
Right.
So I remember after one session, I was deadlifting very heavy. I got home and I was staying at my parents at the time up in Vancouver, and I just started getting chills, and then I just blacked out, for a few seconds, right? And then so and it was just like shivering like crazy. My mom had to cover me up in like thick blankets, even though it was summertime. I was
so your liver levels went up again. The AST and the ALT went up to what? 200?
900. 900.
Okay, 1,000. Okay,
yes.
900.
So 900. And
so
then
now you recognize it, you understand it, you recognize it, and you go, okay, I got to get back on my vitamins? Or what did you do?
I had to make some changes also in the vitamins, and then I had to figure out, okay, is there something else that's affecting me from a food sensitivity standpoint?
Good.
Because maybe there was something else that I was eating, and it turns out I did. I actually did have food sensitivities to some fruits and vegetables. And
really? Okay.
Yes, and that puts a lot of stress on the adrenals. But at that time, they still had not diagnosed me with autoimmune hepatitis. That would come later on. I was in the hospital, second time in the hospital for almost a month until it went down.
Okay.
But then they ran me through a battery of tests.
Why can't they just give you the IV of prednisone? Why can't they just do that? That brings you down like in a couple of days. It brings it down.
I think they were very concerned just because my liver was very, had gone through a lot. So the doctors didn't want to put me on prednisone. And even if they did propose it, I would be against it.
Okay.
Then when the official diagnosis...
I'm not against it when it's a life or death. If you have it and you're extreme and you got to get safe, you have to get into the safety zone first.
Yeah.
Then we can start the vitamins.
Yeah, the other thing I did while I was sick was I was doing a lot of meditation and visualization.
Good.
So I was listening to a lot of self-healing, self-development books by Greg Braden, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and a lot of people that have healed.
Yes.
Because the power of the mind is very important as well. Aside from what you put in your body, it's important what you put in here.
Yes.
So I had to really develop that mindset and visualize that I had a healthy liver.
Good.
Visualize, that I had healthy biliary ducts and all that, and just breathe, and then set the power to the intention to the universe.
Good.
And then when they finally diagnosed it, it still hit me like a ton of bricks. Like it was January 27, 2014.
Wow.
That they finally figured out, after a panel of all the doctors in British Columbia had a powwow, and then they talked to the doctors here in Anaheim.
Yeah.
And then they finally figure out, okay, yes, you have autoimmune hepatitis.
Okay.
And when I heard that, okay, I knew about autoimmune disease,
Right.
but I never knew about autoimmune hepatitis.
Okay. So when did you find my book?
I found your book actually even before the
2014?
diagnosis. It was actually 2013. I found it before I was even diagnosed.
Good.
Because I was looking for ways to, like find ways to heal my liver.
Right.
And I actually came across your video on YouTube.
Okay.
And that's how I found your book. I said, okay,
Good.
so you talked about how you cured, Courtney.
Right.
And I said, it sounds like I have this.
Same thing.
Sure. But I was taking already the same similar kind of supplement, but I had to make some changes.
Right.
So when I got your book,
it was divine timing, man. Divine timing.
I read it, I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
Doing the right thing. There's some slight differences, but I'd say about 90% of it is exactly what you were doing there was what I was doing for myself. So
excellent.
I'm very grateful and thankful that I found your YouTube video, and here we are. So I had to do a little bit more digging and research because I found out that autoimmune hepatitis is not common with males.
Yeah, well, it is. It's just that people are misdiagnosing it, and really, what it is, they say it's not common with males, but there's definitely a percentage. I mean, they say, oh, sure. But really, here's the thing. It is a lupus, okay? So sometimes they see it, and oftentimes they say that it's a female, but it's actually the lupus virus. So if it's a lupus virus, you're just being misdiagnosed probably. And here's the thing. Now, you and I talk all the time, and we go back and forth with, what do you think of this? This happened with my client. What do you think of that? And so we compare notes to help clients. And one of my Canadian male clients, he just couldn't get the numbers down. He just couldn't get them down. And we were on 1,200 milligrams of alpha lipoic for a long time. And then I said, well, why don't you, I think it's Candida. I really do. And he said, oh, what's that? I explained to him what Candida was. And he told me, oh my God, I've had brain fog for such a long time. I said, you never told me that. And he has always had, like, ever since he was a kid, he would come home and he would drink Carnation condensed milk.
Oh my gosh.
He would drink a can of it every single day after school when he was little. Carnation condensed milk. And he would have lots of dates. Lots and lots of dates. Dates are fine, but if you have Candida, that's the worst fruit you can have. So
absolutely.
This is, and then he would eat lots of, sugary Danishes or whatever it was that he had. His whole diet was sugar from a child, and he got diagnosed at 18 years old. So my thought was, why don't we back off that? And his thing was that at the very end, so it dropped really low because we changed and went to the Candida diet. Okay. Then the thing that really helped him get over the hump and get down to normal was this doctor. It's a new doctor on the block. He's the guy with the white hair, Stephen. I can't remember. He's the one that says no legumes. I don't follow.
Yeah.
I don't follow his diet.
I have an idea who you're talking
Dr. Stephen, can't remember.
Yeah.
He's a cardiologist, but he doesn't like legumes. He takes the legumes out of the situation. He took legumes out of his diet, and boom, he dropped to normal. So, as you said, certain foods triggered him. Usually it's the wheat or the dairy. You found it to be a few fruits. But this kid in Canada, not only did he have to get clean off his diet, clean out his Candida out of his body, he had to get off the legumes, and it dropped to normal. And I was shocked because I didn't think legumes could trigger him.
It makes sense because the legumes have phytic acid. So phytic acid strips your body of certain vitamins and minerals, so you don't absorb it. And that's probably what's happening. Okay, he may have been eating right, but he's not actually absorbing much of the because he was eating a lot of legumes.
Okay, there you go.
And that's for me as well. I eat legumes, but I noticed that I started feeling a little bit lethargic as well. So I've adjusted my diet as well. Like I eat mostly kind of like paleo with kind of vegan, more heavily on on a plant-based diet.
Right,
I still eat the meat, but what I found was I was actually sensitive. I was highly sensitive to berries, and I was putting a lot of berries in my smoothies.
Wow.
Blackberries I was highly sensitive to, blueberries, strawberries, and those are my favorite foods. I'm like, how can this be so bad for me when
it tastes so good?
It tastes so good and it's healthy. But because what happened was, like, one time when I was eating some fresh blueberries, I woke up and then my sister said, like, who did you have a fight with? I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, look in the mirror, and my lips had blown up.
Oh, you were allergic to them.
Yes, yes. And then the other thing I was sensitive to was peanuts.
Oh, well, yeah. Yes. A lot of people are sensitive to peanuts. That's from having too many vaccines. They put peanut oil in the vaccines, so then it becomes an allergic thing for most people.
Yes. Then sesame seeds, sesame seeds and grapefruit juice. That was bad for me too.
Really? Okay. All right.
So I had to be an alchemist.
Yes, we all have to. And we have to do our studying. We have to really research what's right for us, because what may be good for you may not be good for me. Because if I go on a vegan diet, I will disintegrate into nothing. I became a vegan one year. It took me about 6 months to stop it. I got to be a vegan, and I was really into it because I read all these books, and I felt so bad eating the animal. And then I got so skinny, Mike, so skinny that I couldn't even lift weights anymore. I was so weak and gaunt, very gaunt. And people would say, "Oh, you look a little too skinny." I would say, "No, that's because I'm vegan now." I got so weak. I said, "Honey," I said to my husband, "I can't do this anymore. I need some meat." I'm just starving.
To your body. Oh, I can relate, because there's a lot of other people that have gone through your same situation, and really, it's I just tell people, you just have to listen to your body. It's not bowing down to peer pressure or societal pressure, where it says like, "Oh, you're cruel to animals." It's not about that. You just have to listen to your body.
Right. I mean, clearly, you and I are different ethnicities, we're different sexes, and we're probably different blood types.
Yes.
So you have to listen to your body. Anyway, let's talk about working out, because this is really important. If you have autoimmune hepatitis and you're a male, you're going to have unfortunately, the boys don't heal very quickly. They heal when they're like 18, 25. They really don't get rid of it or manage it properly till they're about 25. Now, one of the reasons I surmised, and I was talking to Dr. Berkson about, is that boys and teens have a rush of hormones all the time, and it's testosterone mainly. So if you have a rush of testosterone and your liver produces 50% of testosterone, and you're a male with a lot of testosterone, then your liver enzymes are going to go up more than the girls, because the girls produce 1/10 of the testosterone than a boy or a male. Well, actually, I have to say it's 1/10 of testosterone as an adult. I really don't know what the ratio is when you're a teenager. It might be even greater, because males are developing then, right? So they're getting muscles and hair and all types of testosterone things. So my point is, what do you do if you're a male and it's affecting your liver, and you need to reduce your AST and ALT after you've worked out?
It's not going pedal to the metal. Like, you may see my videos and think I'm actually going all out, but it's about 70-80% of my max. And that's what I've figured out was my comfort zone. Because before I would use to lift like almost double the weight that people would see in my videos now. Right. And I would go, I would go like CrossFit crazy. I would go high intensity for like 1-2 hour workouts, no more.
Wow.
Because that's how I found out that my liver enzymes I would just feel it.
Right.
And the other thing too was, what happened to me was, when the autoimmune fully manifested itself, my estrogen and testosterone flipped. So my testosterone was sky high, and then it lowered to below 300, and then my estrogen went to over 900. So now I became estrogen dominant.
Wow.
Because my liver couldn't process.
Did you start talking very high?
Almost. but
So
it's hard
the
for
vitamin?
a man.
What's the vitamin you used?
Well, I needed to find a natural estrogen blocker, and I didn't want to take any drugs. And I remember that, from my GNC days, that a lot of the bodybuilders would come in and buy this supplement that was sold in the GNC called DIM, which stands for the indolyl methane, which is a certain chemical compound that's found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli. That's why if you see bodybuilders, they're part of their diet, they eat a lot of broccoli.
Right.
That's that because it contains a lot of DIM, and that's acts as an estrogen blocker.
Okay.
But
So-
I bought capsules.
Okay.
I bought capsules, so it had to be a higher dose because the high estrogen was just making me so miserable.
Sure. You're
for a guy.
probably very emotional too.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the DIM helped me to, bring my estrogen to a manageable level. But the thing is, because as a man grows older, then the testosterone drops. So now I have to balance both.
Right.
Right. So now I have to, still maintain the balance of estrogen, but then I also have to find ways to naturally produce testosterone, and that is through weight resistance training.
Okay.
Right. Instead, I'm not going to take any testosterone pills or creams, but I would just focus on resistance trainings because that's what stimulates the production of growth
The
hormone.
heavy weightlifting.
Yeah, like as long as you're putting resistance to your body. It doesn't have to be ultra heavy, but the moment your body as a male feels that it's exerting a certain amount of effort, then it helps to keep the muscle strong and of course keep you producing testosterone.
Okay, so how much DIM did you start with? Because now everybody who listens to this, I don't want you running out and getting DIM and like having an estrogen imbalance. You have to do it logically. You have to find the right dose for you.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you start?
I started off at about 250, 300 milligrams.
Okay, and you're 180 pounds?
195.
Okay.
195. And then I had to, it was also like, it's helping, but it's not enough. So I found my comfort level at about 500.
Okay.
500.
So that's something everybody has to find because you're in their 50s. So in your 50s, you start to reduce the estrogen, the testosterone a little bit, and you still have to bring all the estrogen down. Mm-hmm. So you're finding that happy balance, and it helps your AST and ALT come down so that any time you work out, it doesn't flare.
Yes.
Or it doesn't flare too high, right?
It does. It's gotten to the point now where, like, I don't even need a blood test to figure out that, I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
And one thing I found is like with testosterone, once you're in your 50s, you've actually lost about 15 to 20% of testosterone. So for a man, that's significant. So you start losing muscle mass as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, just the male menopause aspect.
Yeah. But to keep weightlifting does keep your testosterone up.
Yes. Weightlifting or anything what they call high intensity interval, but you keep it at a short period of time, like 10 to 20 minutes of high intensity interval. And that's all you need to do to keep your metabolism high for the next 24 hours and your body's still producing growth hormone and testosterone.
Okay. So talk to me about the books because I don't want to get off. We don't have too much time left, and I really want to go straight to your book. You have 2 out. One is called
this one here,
Healing a Broken Body.
Healing a Broken Body.
Okay.
And that's the first book that shows how I lost the weight and reversed the type 2 diabetes. And then the second book is Into the Shadows, which talks about going into the dark to help heal the autoimmune hepatitis. So it talks about not just from a dietary standpoint, but from a mental and spiritual. So it goes deeper into that.
I have to get that book. I have the other book. I didn't get the second book.
Yes, the second book goes deeper into that, and it's really more specialized because I wanted to put out a book wherein it's not a diet book or a supplement book.
Right,
I wanted
like
it to be like a story where people can relate to, and then they can pick and choose what applies to them.
Right.
So I came up with that book, Into the Shadows. And the third and fourth books are coming out this year. And that's more to do with, because now that I've healed, you have to find a way to maintain.
Right.
Okay. So the third one is about abundance, and it's called, Infinite Abundance of the Universe. So it incorporates what type of foods I put into my body,
Right.
what type of nutrition I put into my brain.
Good.
And then a lot of mental and spiritual exercises daily, like gratitude, like proper breathing. The simple tips to help people de-stress from an overstimulated society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. I really, really love it because everybody, everybody, when you get to a certain age, you start to just, your body breaks down. You just have to, you have to use your mind to relax. You have to use your mind to tell your body to relax. And then it will get into homeostasis. And you always have to stay happy. I always tell people, you have this vitamin protocol I've given you and you got this diet. And I know it's a very stressful time, but I want you to enjoy your life like you never enjoyed it before. So sing like no one's listening. Dance like no one's watching, and just take your husband, wife, kid, friends, and be silly and laugh more often, because when you're happy, the energy that is created from happiness actually heals our cells. So
absolutely,
that's part of the healing process, and people don't know this. And yes, people say, oh, people have healed with laughter. Well, you've healed with laughter, but that's not it only. It's only part of it. You got to heal the body, you got to heal the soul, and you got to heal the mind.
Yes.
So this is part of the soul. You got to be happy.
Everything has to be connected. We can't keep just running our life like from this part only, because like this part says, oh, this tastes good, I like it. But then it gets down to the body part, and it's just like, heck, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Stop with this and get the whole body going.
Exactly. And that's what I love about, like what you're doing, is that you're incorporating a lot of things to help people, on a mental, physical, and the spiritual aspect, because that's so important. And you're doing a great job.
And anybody who listens to these broadcasts, I want you to take notes and text us with questions. And if you want to reach out to Mike, it's Iron Eagle Mike, and you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him in Google. You can find him anywhere, because he's got 2 books out already. And he's always working out on Instagram. I feel so lazy when I see you. I go, I really got to get to the gym. I'm really a lazy bum.
No, I tell people, like, for me, that's my sanctuary. But if you're the type that wants to go out to the park, or just like want to dance, like if you want to go dance, take a dancing class, take a salsa class, take a Zumba class, enjoy it. Do what you feel makes you happy.
Right.
What you're always saying. So that's what I do. And that's what I tell people. It's like, you don't have to do what I'm doing. What I'm doing makes me happy. So find your own why and your happiness.
Right. So are you taking people as clients? Do you take them on and help them reverse their autoimmune diseases?
Right now, I've put a temporary hold on that, but I still, people still email me. They reach out through my YouTube channel, and I answer them, and then I can direct them to you if you're if they're in the East Coast,
right?
And then I just tell them to buy my books, right? And then I tell them to just start watching what I'm doing, on a daily basis on Instagram, on Facebook, and I said, because
watch
that's
what
where
he's doing, because I don't know if you're going to be able to do what he's doing, because he does it 7 days a week.
Well, not just the physical aspect of it, but like what I talk about, like when I talk about positivity and that happiness and healing, you have to feel it to heal it.
Oh, I am one of your fans. I don't know if you realize it. I listen to you. I just don't do the likes. Yeah. But anytime you're on, I listen to you, because it's very, very uplifting for me. And I was the one who actually told you about, you read my book before you put your entire body together 100%, but you then inspire me to go further. So we all have to reach out to each other, take the good with what we hear. And if you need to speak to Mike, and he'll definitely answer you, and he'll give you inspiration to keep moving forward and to heal your body. It's really a beautiful thing. I always admire people who go from overweight to, beautiful weight, a very comfortable your weight. And I know you guys can't see him on video, and this is a podcast, a radio podcast. He's in sweatpants and a sweatshirt because it's cold where he is. But check him out on Instagram, and also just the books. You can see
Yeah.
that he's ripped. He's doing the work. He is doing the work, and I really appreciate that and respect that. And I just want to say thank you. You've done a great job for yourself and for the world. You're inspiring.
Oh my gosh, I'm so honored, Denise, and thank you for for always being there to keep being a cheerleader, but also an inspirer. Because I always look at what you're doing there, and I wanted to share with people that if you have stories of healing, stories of an awakening. The reason why I'm so preoccupied and not doing a lot of health coaching is because I'm a partner with my partner's company, Rada Publishing, and we're
Okay.
coming out with a collaboration
Okay.
of books about healing, people's
Good.
stories, transformation stories, miracles, and all that.
Okay.
So if they want more details, they can just reach out to me.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there and make a plug for my Autoimmune Symposium.
Yes.
Because my Autoimmune Symposium
That's
is
important.
coming this Sunday. Well, it's because I want to add to your list of healing. The reason why I started the Autoimmune Symposium was because I really wanted to bring Dr. Burt Berkson to the people. I wanted to bring the science and the doctors to the average Joe. By the way, I have a cat that's climbing on the table, so she may pass in front of the camera. But I wanted people to meet. I mean, it's one thing for me to say, oh, I did this and I did that and read my book. It's another thing to meet the guy, shake his hand,
Yes.
and say, can I ask you a question? And you don't have to pay him $600, $700, $1,000. You don't have to travel to New Mexico. You don't have to go take Muhammad to the mountain. I bring the mountain to Muhammad. I'm bringing the mountain to you guys. So if you have any autoimmune disease, which is like everybody in the world has somebody in their house with allergies, with Crohn's or irritable bowel syndrome. And by the way, that's called a lot of gas, like the parent or the person in your family that always has a lot of gas. That's irritable bowel syndrome. And it's going to get worse if you don't fix it. And they also have a lot, I don't even want to say the C word. They have a lot of diabetes. They have a lot of thyroid issues, tons of thyroid issue.
Yes.
They have a lot of eczema. How many people have eczema and psoriasis? And you and I know how easily that is to reverse. How many people do you know have rheumatoid arthritis? So many. Oh, it's insane. And forget about the lupus and the MS, all that too. And then there's the unusual diseases that they've misdiagnosed. Nobody knows what they are. A lot of the times they're candida or Lyme, or they could be something very unusual. And you have to have that diagnosed. That's why you want to come to this symposium, to meet the doctors who you can find the right one, the one that you can jibe with. You have to feel the right one. Like guys would probably like to go to you, Mike, to help them reverse their autoimmune diseases. And the females might like to come to me to help me help them with their autoimmune diseases. So everybody has to find the person that they like. And I can't wait. This Sunday, March 10th, 2019, we're flying Dr. Berkson here to New Jersey to hear him speak. And he's just prolific. He really knows what he's talking about. He's been healing autoimmune hepatitis, liver disease, lupus, MS, some cancers since 1979. 1979. He's just under the radar. Nobody knows too much about him. So I'm bringing him to the public, and I just want you to read about him. Don't believe me, just read about him. And you know what? For $60, you can come to an autoimmune symposium and get fed all day and get all the information that you need to take home, make a decision which doctor you want to go to, and change your life. And that's why I keep telling people, you can heal your life. You just have to have somebody to help you. And you got to find the right practitioner. So you'll hear Diane Freeman, who is a certified nutritionist. She's not only a certified nutritionist. I've been talking about Diane for like 5 years because I got my holistic health counselor license from her. But my husband just said to me yesterday, I didn't know she was that sick. She was in a wheelchair. I said, yes, she was in a wheelchair and she healed herself. They misdiagnosed her. They said she had MS. They said she had fibromyalgia. They said she has Lyme disease. And they couldn't cure her. The doctors just kept giving her drugs and drugs and drugs. And finally, she was in a wheelchair and she was in her 40s. Sound familiar? So what happened was she said, enough. I have to get to she started reading and researching and meeting people and going to different holistic doctors. And she went to Dr. Atkins back in the 70s, 80s. And she actually learned from him. And then that's when her journey of learning began, and she reversed her diseases. So she's opened up a school for certified holistic health counselors. And you're going to speak to her, and you'll hear her, and then you can ask her questions afterwards about your particular situation. And then we're going to have Dr. Brett Hartman, who's not just an everyday chiropractor. He used to be my chiropractor years ago, and I used to go to him when I just started on my journey of wellness. And he's going to talk about vaccine safety, which is a big issue in the States now. Now, also, this is the part that I wish you could come and see him. Mike, you would love this guy. It's my dear friend, Eddie Leong. He has his own proprietary energy healing method. Years ago, Eddie used to work with, and when I met him in the office, I said, I heal people with diet and vitamins. He said, I heal people too. And I said, really? He said, yes, with energy. I went, huh? What? What does that mean? I swear to God, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I didn't know back then what energy healing was. So I sat there like a puppy dog going, can you please explain? And I listened to him, and it seemed very incredulous. It seemed like he was lying. I thought he was fake. And I listened and I listened. And what he has done, he's a martial artist. He's also in fabulous shape. He's been a martial artist for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And he's a little older than me. He's the same age. And he's in fabulous shape. And his martial art then transitioned into energy healing. So he would learn to take his chi and make it stronger. And with his belief power, whatever it is that he does, and he'll explain it at the symposium, he can actually do it. He used to have to do this to people and wave a hand in front of them with the energy out of the hand. Now he does it with intention. So he will sit in his house and he will meditate and he will intend to reverse the energy that is negative around your body. He says he corrects for it. He'll have to explain the whole thing. So it'll be an hour-long explanation of what he does. Now, very quickly, you can't find anything on the internet about Eddie Leong, but he is an energy facilitator, and he did heal my back after I popped it with yoga lattes. Did you ever do crunches in yoga lattes? You know how those women sit up in a V position with their legs in the air? Well, my body went pop, and then I cried, and I had to roll over to the side and just curl up in a ball until the pain passed. And for a month, I had pain every day. And I knew Eddie had this talent that he stopped using for many years because it got too much. He was practicing it with his cousin, and people can look up his cousin, but we'll tell you off the air. I don't want to make it publicly known because his cousin didn't give me permission to discuss it. So he and his cousin created this energy modality, methodology, and they actually were doing a lot of seminars and reversing a lot of disease for people, and he was trying to teach it. And then I begged him, so he did that years ago and then stopped and raised a family. And I begged him on a text. I said, Eddie, I know you don't do this anymore professionally, but I'm begging you. I've tried everything. My back is killing me, and I'm crying every day. I don't know what to do. And I can't even go to the chiropractor or an acupuncturist. And he said, okay, I'll work on you over the weekend. I'm a little busy now. And that was Friday. On Saturday, in the bathroom, I'd cry. I'd stand up and cry. The only thing I could do is just stand still, and I wouldn't have pain. And then on Sunday, I woke up with not a stitch of pain. And I rolled out of bed, waiting for the pain, and it was gone. And I said, Mike, that's my husband, the pain is gone. Oh my God, he did it. And then I was a believer. So I understand when people go, well, who is this guy? I can't find him on the internet. So you have to just trust me on this one. Come meet him. Come see what he has to say. It's only going to cost you $60, and we're going to feed you all day. But the knowledge that you're going to take away is something, it's from like a master healer. Like, you don't meet these people in America every day. They're hiding in their lives. They don't want to be found. You know, when they're really good, they don't need to get out there and tell you. They don't need to. People find them.
Yep,
When
exactly.
somebody is phenomenal and so great, they don't need to advertise. So Ed is not advertising. I'm letting people know there's this thing called energy healing, and you've got to incorporate it into your healing. Whether you do it with a machine, and you find a Rife machine, or you find some other major, OnDemed is another machine. My Health is a machine. Whether you find an energy machine that works for you, or you find an energy healer that helps you learn how to do it yourself, you got to learn the trade. You got to learn how to change the negative energy in your body so that your body can be the great body that it was meant to be. So you do it with food, you do it with vitamins, you do it with belief. That's within here. And then you do it with convince. That's here.
The mindset readjustment. And it's so true about the energy healing, because that's in my second book. So I totally believe what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. It's in your second book.
Because I learned about that from 2 master healers. So
you did too?
Yep.
Oh man, I can't wait for that book.
So, I definitely would love to meet Eddie and connect with him, because that's so true, because that's the next step right now in the evolution of medicine. So, you're whoever's going to be attending your symposium, you're covering all the bases, and by adding Eddie Leong in there, that is just like the gravy on everything there, because you've got the mind, body, spirit connection with Dr. Bergson, the nutritionist, and then Eddie Leong there. So like Denise says, those in the East Coast, if you're in the tri-state, definitely go and attend the symposium.
We've got
$60.
people coming from the Midwest. We've got people coming from the Midwest, people coming from Maryland. We got people coming from all over. We really do. The people in California couldn't come, but I got somebody from Arizona coming. So I understand that it's a long distance. But I just wanted to say, you're going to find the right doctors for you. Last year, before you go, I want you to see these pictures. Last year, and hopefully Tony can put the pictures up. Here's a few pictures of the people who healed last year. And these are only the pictures of the people that I know about. Some people didn't even call me back till later on. So I'm sure there's other people out there that just didn't call me back to say, I found the right doctor and I'm better and I'm off my meds. But these young people are just a few of who has healed. Another older woman who I spoke about last week, she's not older, she's in her 50s, or maybe she's 40, and she got well, went to Africa for a vacation, came back and got married. She got married because she got better. It was beautiful. So get your tickets now, and the first 200 people get goodie bags. See these guys behind us? Yeah.
I know, I'm jealous.
And so many other free things. I can't even start to list them. People are just throwing food at us, throwing good stuff at us. I can't wait to see you there. Come and heal your life and join our healthy and happy tribe. And get healthy as quickly as you can. No wheat, no dairy, and of course, be happy, happy, happy. Thanks, Mike. Iron Eagle Mike, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you this weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of hell. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound